So the final thing that I want to discuss, and this is going to be a lengthy discussion, is what is the growth opportunity? And this is so important. I can't even tell you how important this is because most of the businesses, especially ones that you find being sold in Flippa, are greatly undervalued for whatever reason. Because the owner is not experienced in selling the business, or they just need to sell it and make a quick buck out of it. For whatever the reason is, the bottom line is they're undervalued. I made a chart, and I'm going to discuss this chart in great detail so you can see where there is opportunity and where there's growth in the business so you can better understand if you do invest $20,000, how can you make $50,000 or $100,000 in a very short time by implementing some of the strategies that the current owner got them either wrong or didn't do them for whatever reason. So there's 3 steps in getting amazing conversions. When I'm saying amazing, I'm talking about double-digit conversions, 10% and higher. Most e-commerce conversions can range between 0.1%, yes, that low. Typically, an okay conversion, if you did everything right at the minimum level, you'll be at 1 or 1.5%. Amazon converts at 3 to 4%, but it's very easy to convert at double digits if you know what you're doing and you've implemented every strategy that I'm going to go over. So the first step is the awareness stage, which is the traffic that sees your website, that sees your product, sees whatever you're selling, and if they purchase it, you're going to end up getting the sale. So typically, if you're buying an e-commerce website, then you want to see the traffic coming from the search engine, either through paid methods or organic methods, which are free. That would be the step 1 awareness, and that's what we're going to cover in the next slide. The step 2 and step 3 I'm going to cover after I go over the step 1. So the step 1 is the awareness for the customers, specifically your potential customers of your new business, to see your product offering. What you want to check out is, did the seller sell the products on eBay? And if they did, what kind of return did they get? You can evaluate the opportunity there. If they did not sell on eBay, you can use a software called Terapeak.com to measure how great the chances are for the products to sell. So Terapeak kind of gives you the back door to every seller on eBay to show you what products they're selling, for how much they're sold for, and how many overall do they sell. And based on the discount that the current owner gets for the products that he's selling, you can evaluate to see how well would they sell on eBay and can you make a profit from there. And if the answer is yes, how big of a profit? So let me give you a quick story about the eBay deal. During the recording of this video, I have a website that's being sold. It's an automotive website. Last year, it did a net profit of about $20,000. It's good because it came all from organic traffic, but it's not a lot. However, that same website took all of their products that they sell on the website, synced them over to eBay, and eBay was responsible for $1.1 million that year. And that same website, using eBay, took another $170,000 of net profit. So the opportunity here is that, yes, the website might not be as successful as you want it to be, but eBay, which has a ton of more traffic, because that current owner has a really good discount that will sell the products really well on eBay, the discount has all the value if you buy that business. So he might say, hey, buy my business for $50,000, even though you might look at it and be like, why would I ever pay you $50,000 when you only made $20,000 last year? You're evaluating your business at 2.5 of the net profit, which is crazy because that's overvalued. So the answer is yes, it is overvalued, but knowing that you can take these same products, put on eBay, and then the business will go from $20,000 to $200,000 of net profit, that is a great value. The current owner of that store does not see that they can put the products on eBay, but you do. So maybe it is worth paying them 2.5 of their net profit that they're asking, because by you taking the products to eBay, you're going to make 400% profit or more next year. In this case, you'll make 1,000% profit. So again, don't treat it as a deal breaker. You can use whatever knowledge you have to negotiate a better deal, but you have to put all of the points in place, and you also have to really measure the opportunity and growth of the business. So by me having the eBay statistics, I'm automatically saying, okay, this business is worth $100,000, not 20, because of eBay. Now here's another thing about eBay. eBay is a risky business, which means even though you might do $200,000 of net profit on eBay, you can't estimate that the business will do that much a year from now and 2 years from now, because you buy the business. Let's say that eBay seller has been selling on eBay for the past 6 months or even a year. Everything is going great. His orders are steady. But one thing you got to understand is that tomorrow somebody else can go on eBay and start competing with you, and your revenue just drops half. Usually what you do is, let's say if you do $200,000 on eBay and the seller that you're trying to buy the business from is evaluating the business with eBay in the statistics, what you do is you take the $200,000 that you did on eBay and you measure your risk. You ask yourself the question, can I do the same kind of sales that he's doing for a month? Usually the answer is yes, because nothing's going to happen in a month. What about 2 months? What about 3 months? And so on. So let's say that you're going to say, okay, 6 months is the maximum that I would be willing to risk. But just to keep it safe, I'm going to say that within the next 3 months, nothing is most likely going to happen. But after 3 months, when the 4th month comes around, maybe I'm going to lose some of the revenue from there. So I'm going to evaluate the eBay business at 0.3 of the net profit of last year. So now you take $200,000, you do 0.3, and now the eBay business portion is specifically worth $60,000. Now my question to you, if the business is worth $60,000, even at the 3 months evaluation, just because he clicked one button and took all of his products from his store, put it on eBay, and all of a sudden he just gained $60,000, that's a great opportunity and growth as a buyer to take somebody's products from their website, put it on eBay, and all of a sudden you just doubled or tripled the value of that business. All you did was click one button, that's it. Now, obviously, some platforms are harder to port into eBay. I'm specifically talking about Shopping Cart Elite, which I'm the founder of, where if you do have the products in Shopping Cart Elite, which is a central system, with one click of a button, you can put it on eBay and Amazon and Google Shopping and so on, and see instant results. So that's the next thing that I want to talk about. Did the seller list on Amazon? And what is the opportunity there? So Amazon doesn't have the same thing as Terapeak, but they do have something you can measure using just common sense. So what you would do is you would go to Amazon, you would see if anybody's selling that product on Amazon currently, and if yes, what price do they have? And then you can see the demand for that product using a website called keywordspy.com, which tells you how many people search for that product, which, Amazon is huge. According to compete.com, their traffic is the same as eBay, but I think their conversions are higher than eBay. So considering that, whatever keywordspy.com says, which is specifically tracking Google, I would say Amazon has that kind of traffic or more, because people come there to buy products, while in Google people come there to possibly search for products. So chances are Amazon will get very close traffic to what Keyword Spy says. And based on that, you can see how many competitors are there selling the same product, what price, and so on, and did the current seller list the products on Amazon? If the answer is no, there's another growth opportunity. Did the seller syndicate his products to Google Shopping, the Find, Bing Shopping? 3 free shopping engines. I'm not sure if Bing is going to stay free or not in the future, but at the moment it is. Did they synchronize and syndicate their data there? Because if they didn't, another growth opportunity missing. Google Shopping specifically has a very, very high conversion rate if you have the right product at the right price. With Shopping Cart Elite, as long as you have the products in there, you press one button and everything is Google Shopping. If the seller is selling his business for $20,000 based on making $20,000 last year, if the numbers can stay the same as last year, just by clicking one button and taking your products to Google Shopping, now you can do $30,000 or $40,000 this year. So again, you just value your business more money than you're about to buy it for. It's very important to understand your opportunity and growth of the business, because if you're going to just base your numbers on numbers coming out of your head, or if you're going to base your numbers on just, hey, you're valuing your business at too much money, then that's the wrong approach. That's the wrong way of doing it. The only time that you should consider valuing the business at a lower amount is if you see that the growth opportunity is not there because it's something out of your control which you can't implement. So the seller did list on eBay and did list on Amazon and did Google Shopping to Find and Bing Shopping and did all these other things, and still the revenue is $20,000 last year. Obviously there's a red flag that they exhausted every possible marketplace and cross-channel and still didn't make any money. So there's a red flag that that business might not actually be very successful. So you might want to consider looking a little bit closer at it. The next thing is you want to see if the seller does AdWords. This is a huge red flag, because if they're doing AdWords, You need a full-time person to manage that campaign. You need cash flow to fund the AdWords campaign, constant monitoring. I mean, this is a full-time job. If they're willing to give you the account with those campaigns, sure, fine, take it. But the risk factor is as close as eBay. Because somebody tomorrow can come in and start paying AdWords, and I just got a competition. I will never evaluate a business at times 2 of its net profit based on AdWords revenue. I've seen so many people do this. I've seen so many people fund their AdWords campaign, and I'll show you a tool that you can see if they funded it or not. So here's what happens. The business isn't making a lot of money. Let's say they did $20,000 in net revenue last year, and right before they want to sell the business, they'll go on AdWords and they'll shove in $3,000 into it for the next 2 months or whatever, $5,000. All of a sudden, their sales completely spike up, which is great. Wow, the sales spike up, but after the gross profit minus cost of goods sold, the net profit is just not enough to keep funding the AdWords campaign. So, they didn't tell you about that they funded the AdWords. They just said, hey, business is up. It's great. Once you buy it, the business is going to go back down because that was just temporary, injection of traffic. You have to watch out for that. If you do see that there was a big spike of pay-per-click traffic right before they sold it, obviously that's a red flag. You should take a lot of precaution before committing to that kind of business. How can you check if the AdWords was being used before the sale? You can go to a website called spyfu.com, spyfu.com, and there you can actually see the history if they ever did AdWords and when did they do it and how much did they spend per day for that campaign. You can also check what kind of organic traffic they get on SpyFu, which is also very helpful to see which keywords they're ranked for and what those keywords are really worth. Specifically, with the AdWord campaign on SpyFu, they show you what would be the minimum that they would spend and what would be the maximum. They don't tell you exactly what they spend, but they would show you this is what they would spend as a minimum, this is what they would spend as a maximum, and you can kind of base your numbers off of that to see how much money they invested. Another question you want to ask is, did the seller conduct any kind of email marketing campaign, such as a autoresponder or a daily deal email campaign where the customer can come in, put in their email, and for the next 2 months they'll be prompted to buy something at a special price? And will that email marketing campaign be given to you after the sale? How many email opt-ins do they have is another question you might ask them, and how responsive is the list? So you might want to actually show them the last email campaign that was sent out so you can see how many of those emails actually got opened and action was taken. Because you might have a 10,000 mailing list, but as soon as you send out one email, everybody's going to say that you're a spammer and your account will get shut down. So that 10,000 number is worthless. The number that you should really pay attention to is the people that open the email without reporting you to spam. So typically out of 1,000 people, you might, depending on the list and depending on the relationship that the e-commerce website had with the list, usually from what I've seen, it's been not a great relationship because nobody ever has time to communicate with their customers. So considering it's not a great relationship and it's just a occasional like, hey, check us out once a month or whatever, you might see between a 3 and 10% open rate. So out of 1,000 people, you might get 30 to 100 people that open it. So if somebody tells you I have a 10,000 list, you might end up with 300 to 1,000 actual people that care about your email marketing campaign. The final thing is, did the seller do any kind of social media marketing? Now, social media, I'm not going to get into it because it doesn't work for every business. It's very tricky. It's not designed to get a direct sale. It's designed more for getting them into an email marketing campaign or whatever. But typically, the social media marketing, I don't find it as important. Maybe that's because I never really had a lot of experience with actually converting that traffic. I've tried a lot of different things, and some things worked, some didn't, but there's so much to do that social media marketing on my list is towards the very end. If they do participate in social media, how much of that business do they do in social media? Maybe you'll find somebody who's really, really heavily involved in social media. That might give you an extra business, but that would be something for you to consider. So all of these different things is a way for you to measure the opportunity and growth of the business before you make the purchase. So if you find that the business is only doing organic traffic and not doing any kind of paid traffic, not doing eBay or Amazon, not doing Google Shopping and so on, then there is definitely an opportunity there for growth and for you to even get a salary from the additional sales if it's making enough today, or grow it and make it generate more revenue for it and sell it later in a year or two for a lot more money. Here's a little chart that I put together showing you all the different ways of optimizing your site for traffic. What you can do is you can take a screenshot of this and use it as a little cheat sheet to see which parts did the current owner, which is the seller of the business, utilize for their business, and see which one of these you might want to get into, maybe because you have experience, maybe you don't, but you still want to try to get into it. So this is what you should consider when evaluating the growth opportunity for traffic.